Adam and Todd, ready to make a change. In the heart of the desert where the sweat drips like rain. Talking fitness and coaching, finding strength in every stride. We'll pump up your motivation, take you on a wild ride. Fit Talk, here we go. It's time to get in the zone. Rocking and rolling will help you find your own.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Episode, I never remember the
Six.
numbers. Six, okay,
Six.
episode 6. So today we're going to talk about injuries on the Saudi Fitness Talk Show.
Correct.
With Adam and...
Todd.
Yeah, excellent. So, yeah, we were actually inspired by this morning. It just came to us.
It came to us. It was
it just came out of
revelation.
nowhere. Actually, no, it didn't. It came because the guest we were going to have on today injured himself.
It seems like he's destroyed his knees, unfortunately. We wish Mahmood well.
Yes, I think he's going to join us maybe next week.
Maybe next week if he can walk.
And he can tell us all about it.
Because that would be exciting to hear about.
But it
for
sounds
us.
pretty special. You know, I'm an injury guy, so I mean...
Yeah, I mean, he reckons it's both LCLs
That's special.
have gone, which is special. It's rare.
Yeah, I mean, like, he must have been cross-legged or something and just
I
someone
think
landed on him.
The positions you get into in jiu-jitsu, it's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen like I saw a bilateral groin tear.
I think I'm going to get one
Literally,
of those.
it's good that we've got no cameras, but literally a guy was, in rugby, had his feet, wide.
Yeah.
And then someone landed on top of him and his legs did the side splits.
That's why you should train the side splits. If he could do those,
Functional.
he could have just dropped in,
Yeah.
Van Damme, and gone like, yeah,
Van
fine.
Damme, someone landed on him, probably a big guy, in a
Yeah.
ruck, and just did the side splits. Just slid open.
That is outrageous.
Two cardboard tears in his
Oh,
groins.
I'm gonna move your
And then he had to get them. So then he got opened up, down his lower abs. They had to then reattach both groins.
Oh my god.
His adductors. I don't know, brevis, longus,
Yeah,
whichever
what
one.
do you think is the worst sport for injuries?
I think rugby's up there
Rugby's got to be up there.
because of the speed as well.
Yeah.
Like say like jiu-jitsu and stuff. You're very close quartered.
Yeah.
There's not much distance, especially
Yeah.
you're very close to each other. Sure, you can.
It's all twisting and torsion.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu, you get like fingers, you get shoulders, you get elbows, you
Knees.
get some knees. Certainly get some knees. But I think like rugby, because some of these guys are just so massive, and they're so powerful, so fast, and they come out of you're not even expecting it, and it just
the impacts.
and you get concussions, obviously.
Yeah.
I think rugby's up there. I mean, they always say American football is up there because those guys, again, knees just get demolished if they hit you. Concussions, again. Long-term boxing's got to be up there
MMA, boxing, all that stuff.
because your head's just getting punched
You just get
non-stop.
when you think about it, it's a crazy sport.
Yeah,
You just get punched in the head, repeated.
just getting smashed.
Just get smashed.
So that's it. You build up all these micro traumas
Yeah.
over time.
Constant.
And say you're boxing for what, 20 odd years, 30
Yeah.
years. Look at Mike Tyson still. He's going to fight here in a few months or weeks, or whatever it is. Like you're boxing for 30 odd years, 40 years. Your head is just going to be. I mean, I've had eight or so concussions. Well, 8 to 10, I can't even remember now.
yeah. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a sign I've been
That's
hitting
a
the
sign
head too
of
many times.
concussions.
8 to
I
10
don't know how many I've had.
I've been KO'd totally out, unconscious for like
Yeah.
twice in rugby, just clash of heads, full steam, running front on, head on.
Boom.
I was terrible at tackling, smashed heads with this guy, and I was out.
Shit.
I was out. I don't even remember. I was out for maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Don't remember anything. I remember running towards the guy.
And waking
Next
up.
thing I remember, I was in hospital. So probably an hour and a half later.
Finished.
Done.
Yeah, you might have been like coming to, but you just can't remember anything.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
probably.
Yeah, they say I was just out. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh.
Yeah, no.
But even when I was like 7 years old, I was at preschool, whatever it was. It was I used to faint quite a lot.
Right, okay.
Don't know why, and just poor cardio probably. Just terrible cardio. Always avoided cardio.
Always,
even
yeah.
still now. But like even when I was 7, there's like 2 summers in a row where I just fainted, and one of them, and then smashed my head on the floor once. At home as well, fainted, smashed my head on the floor, and then when I was about 7 or 8 years old, we were practicing for the summer like choir like festival thing, like singing songs in front of the parents. And I was on the top row on these benches. There's benches that all tiered up. I was on the top.
Not in front of the... No.
You know,
No.
it was hot. We're in the stuffy school hall sort of thing.
Yeah.
Singing these
no
songs. No ventilation. And I just literally just went out.
Yeah.
Bam. Fell forward, smashed my head on the wooden bench in front, rolled down the thing.
And that was where your singing
career
career
ended. Shipped off to hospital again. So actually, I probably had more than 8 to 10 concussions.
Yeah.
My head is just being smashed.
It's just
non-stop. So that's why I could not play, do any boxing.
Stay away from that. It's not a good idea.
My brain is like mush anyway, as it is. It explains a lot. So,
oh, man.
You concussions?
No concussions that I know of.
No?
No. None.
God, you're so like
I actually,
you've not really been injured, have you?
I mean,
you had your shoulders,
but usually that's all like, like when you swim, you're doing so much like internal rotation. So all your external rotators just become weak, underused, infraspinators. Yeah. So you need to strengthen those, and when you don't, and even if you do, it's like doing like 10 little banded external rotations, like just does nothing compared to like thousands of repetitions. So all that would happen to me, it's happened so many times. I get at least one rotator cuff issue a year, maybe 2. Yeah. And you'd feel it start to feel like a bit inflamed during a session. It'd obviously been building up over time. You'd be swimming, you just get through it, finish, whatever, and you're like, oh God, my right shoulder feels a bit, And you wake up in the morning and you just have this like deadening pain. So like you can't lift your arm to brush your teeth or do anything. Like it's just like you can't do this, can't put your hand over your shoulder, can't do anything. It's so sore. Yeah. And it takes weeks to go away. So like the first, 2 weeks you can't brush your teeth, and then eventually you can start to move. And you just...
But I think that's it with a lot of chronic, so these long, slowly build up injuries, is that they take a long time to build up. They also then take a long time to get away because they're so inflamed, or the tendons, or the joint is, or whatever it is. So, especially with these long, more chronic injuries, they're often not a speedy repair process. No. You've got to go through the time to get it back.
You have to do a load of physio, a load of rehab.
It's exercise based. So you've got to gradually, that takes time and adaptation and everything else. Whether it's working eccentric work and all this sort of stuff. Yeah,
but the only major injury I ever had was my AC joint, that ligament on the top there. I was at it's not sport related, but I was at a music festival. I did tell you this. It's a stupid story, but I was just, I was having a good time. Maybe I was intoxicated. I don't know. I can't remember. Not sure.
No, probably not.
Yeah, well, probably not. It's probably just fine.
At a music festival.
Yeah, allegedly. Allegedly, I was intoxicated, and I was probably not.
Innocent till proven guilty.
Exactly. I was having a good time. I was probably 19, just an idiot.
Definitely not.
Still an idiot.
Definitely not intoxicated.
Definitely not. No. That would have been
irresponsible.
I would never done something like that. And I was in a big tent, and they were playing like drum and bass music. So, and like this big mosh pit opened up, and there was a guy in the middle, big dude. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? I reckon if I run at him as hard as a swimmer. So obviously
not used to gravity or contact.
Not used to gravity, contact, running. Used to nothing. I was like, I reckon this maybe explains
hit him like a jellyfish.
Literally ran into him, bounced off. I saw him. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. So I just ran in the middle, hit the guy, and from what I remember, he went down as well. So I must have.
You were definitely intoxicated.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
If you thought you hit him well,
it wasn't true. In my mind, I'd just taken down a giant. In reality, I probably just like hit. His face probably hit like his belly button was where my eyes were. So I was like, hit him, hit the floor, and landed on my right shoulder.
Yeah, and then bing.
Didn't feel a thing. Yeah, felt great. Stood up, kept going. I was like, this is great. And then I woke up the morning after in my
pure adrenaline in
my tent, and I remember going to just scratch my head or grab some hydration from outside of the tent.
Water,
some water it would have been, yes. From outside the tent. Yeah, the suitcase of hydration that I brought with me on the
just
on the
pure water.
Pure water, yeah. With salt in, so I had electrolytes, and I remember like going, oh my God, what the hell has happened to my shoulder?
Yeah.
And I looked down and my collarbone is sticking up. Just popped out. Not crazy, but it's raised.
The skin
was getting stretched a little bit. So I decided to ensure that so I didn't feel any pain. I just continued on with the day and, continued to dance and enjoy myself. And when I came back to get it checked out, it was gone. The ligament over the top was completely stretched. I couldn't swim for probably 4 months. It's just ruined.
Well, I mean, that's it. I think, out of all injuries, muscles are the best case scenario. If you tear a muscle, it's the best case scenario.
It's all about blood flow. Yeah.
It's all about blood because that's where all the healing properties are.
Yeah.
So like best case scenario, you tear a muscle because it will heal faster than everything else. Ligaments, are super slow. Tendons are slow.
You just get no blood to the ligament.
Bones are, after muscles, probably bones because they have at least some decent blood supply.
Yeah.
Then it's probably tendons, and then ligaments are just
it's forever. Yeah.
They just take so.
And like
long.
even now, it's still like it's not 100%. Like it feels fine now, but if I'm going overhead or I'm doing something, heavy, I'll start to get a sharp pain. Something's gonna happen. So it just hasn't actually recovered.
No, that's it.
From that one stupid thing.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
No, I mean, like, it's ligaments really do, and sometimes, if ever, especially, you've got to think of ligaments almost a bit like sellotape. You know what I mean? Because if you overstretch sellotape, it just doesn't go back.
It's not going back. Yeah,
it's just going to stay there.
And there's still a lump here, still raised.
Yeah,
and
you see guys who've had AC injuries, it never looks the same again.
No. It's finished.
And even like we say with tendons, say like when people tear their biceps, you see like Larry Wheels or that one you showed all the time. God. Like their biceps never look the same again.
They just get detached.
So like whether it's a tendon injury, ligament injury, these types of injuries, we'll see with Mahmood next week, and maybe we'll have a look at him in the gym or something and help him with his rehab a bit. But he's never like because then even after you've maybe things are healed and things are in a better position. It's then, for me, rehab, the biggest and injuries is this. It's the mental side of thing. You lose confidence with the injury site, whatever it was or happened. You just don't feel the same. And, I think we both agree on this as rehabbers is that the hardest part is actually developing the confidence again in that joint, in that muscle, in that, whatever it is, and that takes the longest.
Yeah, because you're always trying to protect it subconsciously. Like it starts off, you're consciously like, just thinking about it,
keeping it close, not using it,
and eventually, even when it is getting better, you're still not really going for it.
Yeah.
And like throwing something or doing anything like that afterwards took so long for me to actually be able to throw something again.
Yeah,
or
feel confident,
or go at top speed because you just constantly. Like, I think something's gonna, don't know, it's gonna happen. So, and you see it with people, if they, have like a groin or a knee or something, anytime they're on, let's say it's the right leg, it just looks different. They don't want to put their full weight on it. They don't want to, commit to it.
And so many people, they have these minor injuries, even acute injuries, like they roll their ankle slightly, they tweak their shoulder slightly in the gym or get like a grade 1 muscle tear in something. And then they don't do anything about it. They just can kind of continue to avoid it for a bit. They don't go see the physio or anyone or a PT or anything like that. But then they never have the confidence. And then they try and play some of their old activities again. And then maybe it goes again or they damage it. And it just never feels quite right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even my sister-in-law, you said about her ankle, it's fresh in my mind. Like she rolled her ankle a couple of years ago. And she still, sometimes it just gives way. Sometimes it just doesn't, it's painful. Randomly, it's like, well, because nothing. You never treated it. You never did anything on it. Whether it's going to see and that's it. Like we said before on a previous show, like sometimes you just need to go for 1 or 2 months.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to, it's not like a lifelong subscription or a year subscription like most gyms are.
Yeah, like the Saudi Fitness Talk Show. That's a lifelong subscription. Once you subscribe, it's done.
But, even for, with some of I've had a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries. Yeah. And that's how I got into all this, I remember totally rolling my ankle on a September hard rugby pitch, after the summer when I was 11 years old. And that was the start of it. That was then the cascade of events, because I rolled my ankle. I got a little bit of physio on it, but nothing, nothing proper. Continued playing, and then rolled it again. And then I got, especially with your foot and ankle, if you damage that, you have chronic kind of ankle instability, then everything gets affected elsewhere. And then just playing rugby, whether it's non-contact or contact, my left knee, never really got it diagnosed, or I never got it scanned, anything. But, because I literally got my foot stuck two people landed on my foot in a ruck. I got cleaned out. My leg stayed in place, and I got cleaned out over there. Yeah. And Walshy at the time came on the pit. I was like screaming. I think it was like MCL, like ACL was like, he came on and he was like, right, he just taped it up. Yeah. Get back on the pitch. And I played the whole season. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, now it's fine. Oh, God, I've done so much since then when I was 17 or 8, whatever it was. But, I know like if I stop training for a good couple of weeks now, it just feels a bit loose. And the hamstrings start getting it's definitely like kind of PCL, like even hyper extension. It doesn't like extension that much. It's probably PCL, something like that, MCL, whatever it was. God, what else? And some of the injuries, like my shoulders, dislocations, abs. I've torn my ab.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous injury. Tearing an ab. That's a joke.
Torn my. When I was started learning about injuries, I used to experiment a lot. Use myself as the human guinea pig. Yeah. Try different things. Give
yourself injuries.
Almost, honestly. I was an idiot. The ab was again after a long night in Spain. Yeah. With a couple of hours,
allegedly intoxicated.
Couple of hours sleep, allegedly intoxicated. Couple of hours of sleep, dehydrated from all the heat and the sun.
Must have been the heat and the sun.
Heat and the sun.
That was the name.
In the summer, and I remember going to the gym in the morning, and just thought, you know what, I'm going to try the hardest split squat I can.
Yeah, good idea.
So I was like, I put 60 kilos on the bar. A front rack position. Yeah. Just put it straight on. No warm up. Just put it straight on.
Yeah, begin.
I was like, I'm going to rear foot elevate this thing like hell.
Good. Yeah.
So then I stuck my foot on a really high bench behind me.
Your foot was by the back of your head. It was like by your ears.
This like Cirque du Soleil thing. I was like, right, just completely ramp up, my quads and hip flexors. And then I went straight into the first rep. And I just heard this rip in my ab. That cardboard tearing feeling. And I just stood up and went, oh! Then racked it, and I was like, I'm going to go on the sunbed.
That session was one rep, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go on the sunbed. This is...
that's a better option.
And I did it with the pancake, like your straddle position. End of a session. I thought I saw it on, I think it was Clock Off doing it, or some, one of those Colombian weightlifters. Yeah. One of the girls. Yeah. Doing like straddle pancake good mornings.
Jesus.
You seen those?
No, never, no.
So in the straddle position, like feet out wide, bar on the back. And I thought, well, she's doing 50 kilos.
Mate, listen. There's an anatomical issue with a man being on the floor.
So I was like, well, if she can do 50 kilos, I'm going to start with 50 kilos.
Obviously, yeah. I'm strong. I can do this.
I was like 22 or 23 at the time. End of a session, so I was already pretty tired. I leaned forward. My hamstring. I think it was my biceps femoris glute attachment right in there where it all crosses over. And I was
bottom of your glute, you felt.
Yeah, right here on the outside, bottom of the glute, biceps femoris, like right there, long head. And I was like, I came out, I was like, don't want to do this anymore.
Just bail this.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous thing to try. To think that you can do. That's a ridiculous thing.
But I've torn so many. I've torn my hip flexors, sprinting at the end of a weightlifting session. Been split jerking with my right foot forwards for an hour and a half, non-stop. We did a lot because it was like I did my clean and jerks, and I did split jerk practice. Yeah, and then at the end of the session, my coach, thank you, Kaz, was like, right, we're going to do a sprint at the end of the session. 1 week before competition. 1 week before competition.
Something we've never done before.
Yeah, I haven't. And it was like, we did a sprint off. First, like 5 strides. My right leg was doing hip flexion for an hour and went straight into hip extension.
Gone.
My glute just contracted, ripped, adductor brevis probably, hip flex, psoas, whatever it was. Because it went, and then I just felt this warm feeling in my
internal bleeding.
In my right hip, and I was just like, oh, this is not good. So then, and I had a competition the week later, and then I actually, I couldn't even lift my leg for 3 days. Like getting into bed, like my wife Charlie had to like lift my leg into bed because I just couldn't lift it. And then I actually competed the next week on the Saturday. I just did power snatch, power clean, and
not getting into any sort
power jerk on pretty much 1.5 legs.
Yeah.
By then, and I did all right. I did about 110, 115 power snatch, 150 power clean.
Not bad.
And power jerk.
Pretty good.
I still won.
Pretty good.
It was only a small local competition. So I just did powers the whole thing, but
playing it off like I don't need to go full to win this, but really you just couldn't.
I literally couldn't. But and that's it. I think the biggest thing with injuries, is your body. You still. I always say to people like, oh, I've just injured this or I've just injured that, and I have to take 3 weeks off, 4 weeks. It's like no. Like if you injured your shoulder, I always say you still
trained.
One arm.
Look at all the other joints.
You've got one arm.
Yeah.
You've got a spine, and you've got 2 legs that are functional.
Neck.
Another
wrist. This wrist. You're good. You have lots of. Come on. Don't look.
I didn't say anything.
I know. You just looked at me.
Didn't say anything. So,
oh, mate.
There's always things you can be doing.
But yeah.
I think that for me was when in rugby, like working with professional rugby players, because especially professional athletes, these guys are being paid money, so they're like, the club's not going to say, right, have 4 weeks off and do nothing.
Go and chill out.
Yeah, but the strength coaches or the rehab guys at the time when I was in London Irish, like Rob Palmer, he was British powerlifter, world champion powerlifter. Like I learned a lot from him because he was just like at London Irish, because he was just like, right, literally straight away. They just had surgery that afternoon.
Yeah.
Surgery in the morning. In the afternoon, they're in the gym. Right, we're going to do calf raises. We're going to do whatever we can.
Yeah.
And train. Yeah. Walshy was the same. Like all these guys were like the rehabbers. And I just followed suit. We had guys. I remember kids at the school who were like they had their meniscus operated on in the morning, keyhole surgery, go in, bam, bam, bam. And I'll have them deadlifting partial deadlifts in the afternoon, 150 for 5 reps. Because the surgeon said to him, you can't bend your knee past 90 degrees. I said, okay, perfect, no problem. We're not going to go past 90 degrees.
We will make sure it doesn't happen. And then, didn't say we couldn't load it.
Yeah.
I think that's you're doing the right thing there in terms of getting them, like we talked about the mental state earlier.
Yeah.
That's just clearing that out from the beginning. From the
You're
get-go.
Not weak and feeble and can't do anything.
It's one joint that you hurt. You can do other things.
Yeah. And that's it. And it also just speeds up the whole healing process.
Yeah.
Whether that's from a physiological point of view, even from, I think, psychology as a mental. If you're feeling depressed and you're isolated and all this sort of stuff, you're probably not going to heal as fast.
Yeah.
Whether it's due to inflammation or, I don't know, you're not going to be feeling as good about yourself, whatever those mechanisms are. But, this is one thing I see and saw in professional sports, is that people often isolate the injured players or the injured people. It's like, get them involved. And that is one thing. It's like, get them involved. They will, even if they can't do as much, you find what they can do. Get them involved in team sessions, in the team environment. They feel better about themselves. Also, the people who are fit see the injured guys, how hard they're working, what they're doing, that they're not, skiving and, just trying to milk it.
Yeah.
And they also then see the progress. And then naturally, especially when we saw it with kids, like respect being built, even amongst teams of players, like, this guy is working hard.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get back as hard as he can. He's not just trying to do nothing and all this sort of stuff. So I think inclusion is massive. And we've got a lot of that from America. I think, I remember when we did a lot of the athlete performance, now known as Exos, they had the physio plinths, the treatment beds in the gym.
You're not in a separate room.
You're not in a separate room.
Yeah.
Like the physio room was in the gym.
Yeah.
So like because Exos was dealt with all the deals with, it's still going on. NFL, combine guys and all this sort of stuff, and NBA and whatever. But the nice thing is that they keep everyone together. Like if you're injured, you're still in the team sessions. If everyone's doing, say, 2-arm dumbbell bench press, you're just doing 1-arm dumbbell bench press. Your right shoulder's, buggered, basically. You keep involved with everything. You help as much as you can.
And I think, just looking back, my coach, when I did my shoulder, they brought a bike on poolside. So I was just cycling away.
It doesn't matter.
And but they were there. I was doing the thing. I was still at the session. It wasn't like I was somewhere else doing. They brought it on poolside.
It's like the same with your classes. With your lift classes, you would do the same thing. You have people, if they can't. I can't do this or I can't do that.
Just variation.
Just do a variation.
Yeah.
Use one limb or do a variation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The same with me with boot camps. Like I remember one client coming to me, like we would run for 5 or 10 minutes at the start of sessions, and I can't run. I said, okay, can you run backwards? She's like, oh, I don't know, I haven't tried. Like, run backwards. And I was like, how does your knee feel? She's like, oh, it feels fine, I have no pain. I was like, right, you're going to run backwards for 10 minutes.
So much worse.
It's so much worse.
Can't see, you don't know what's going on.
But then she, she was going one way, everyone else was going the other way. It was just funny. Like, it was, but that's it. It's just like, you just got to find a way. Yeah. My mentality, especially with rehab over the years, the way I kind of do it now is more actually focusing on the mental side of things rather than the physical, because the body's going to heal it. You got to put the right stresses, obviously, pay attention to mechanisms of injury, how it happened, then go away from the mechanism initially, then build towards the mechanism and past the mechanism of injury eventually, whether it's through range of motion, fatigue, planes of motion, whatever it is. But it's also just getting the right mindset, because people come, they're like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that now.
It's another excuse.
I've been told, exactly.
There's
another excuse. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I have to be careful. My doctor said this or my surgeon said that. And it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
I don't care. Yeah, you're still breathing. You can move. You can do something. Let's do something.
Yeah.
And my biggest motto with everything that is something is always better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
Do something.
And something to think about is, think how many different exercises there are. We couldn't do it. It's impossible to list the amount, the variations and everything.
Maybe infinite.
Yeah, probably infinite. It's to some extent.
Yeah.
With whatever injury you have, you've taken out a percentage of those. But there is still a huge number that you can do. You're just focusing on, I can't squat now.
It hurts when I bend my knees. I'm like, well, don't bend your knees.
Don't bend your knees then. It's fine. Just avoid that pain.
Hinge.
Hinge. There's so many other things you can do.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing, a place to start, is just avoiding the pain.
Avoid the pain.
Don't go over a 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. No. Just stay away from it and train.
Yeah.
And train.
I think that whether it's you as a client or you as a coach, you don't have to be a physio or injury expert and done all these degrees and everything else. Like, if something hurts, just avoid it initially, and then obviously you refer to someone. But generally, you just need to. And I find a lot of the time is that you need to avoid it to actually strengthen the muscles that they don't currently have. Like their knees hurt, maybe their patellar tendons, their tendons on their knees actually hurt right now, because maybe they're quad dominant, and they're overloading it, and they haven't got enough hamstring or posterior chain work.
No hamstring work,
because they're just doing so. The quads are just yanking. They're so over dominant. Also, there's a big imbalance between the quads and the hamstrings in terms of what's producing that knee extension, or because or hip extension. Because when you're standing up on 2 feet, quads and hamstrings both produce knee extension and hip extension. It's not just like a leg extension. Quads only do leg extension. No, hamstrings produce knee extension as well. So there's probably just an over dominance of that, and you actually just need to spend a month or so just doing hinging and leg curls.
And it's like sometimes the injury can point you in the right direction of what you've been missing out.
Yes.
Like you often find that, like they have been missing out or neglecting some form of training, or not even really knowing it was an issue. The injury happens, and then you look back and go, oh, okay, I understand why that's happened now. It's probably a good time to specialize in glute work or hamstring work.
Do a period of posterior chain work.
I've
been neglecting it. I'm a
forced specialization within a certain.
No, I like that, and that's exactly it. It's I think subconsciously, our body will tell us, but we just don't. We're not aware, or we're not listening to it, or whatever it is. we'll have these little pains, and and that's it. It's avoiding some of these areas. And pain is great. Somebody's like, oh, I'm in pain. I was like, that's good. Like, pain is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, we need to have pain.
Yeah.
And
it's going to happen at some point.
It's
anyway.
the yellow warning light on your car.
Yeah.
It's like, look, you need to do something different to what you're currently doing, because this is not. If you keep doing what you're currently doing, something's going to happen. Something's going to break, or fault. You're going to have some sort of failure with, whether it's structurally or whatever. So it's like, look, just listen to your body. Like, these are all signs and signals and symptoms that you need to train up your, change up. Some people's shoulders, always the common one, especially recently. I've seen so many people with bicep tendons hurting.
Yeah.
And because you just and they got then no back development.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, okay, you got good amount of muscle on the front of your upper body, deltoids, biceps, chest,
the beach muscles. Yeah.
But you go from behind and there's nothing there. And you're like, well, no wonder why your bicep tendons are hurting.
Yeah.
Like, you're not pulling enough. You're not doing any, external rotation, horizontal abduction, everything, all the pulling movements, basically, and nowhere near enough volume. So just drop all your horizontal pushing for a while, all your bench pressing and all this stuff. Just pull.
Yeah.
I guarantee your shoulder, fix up get your rotator cuff stronger, more horizontal pulling, whether it's face pulls or rows or neck pull, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Just pull something towards you.
Yeah. Just do the opposite for a bit.
Do the opposite for a bit.
I think, look, a lot of people fall into that, if they don't really understand training so much. They want to look good. They're looking at themselves in the mirror. They think, right, chest, biceps, these things. But when you have a big, wide back, that's perfect, because a lot of people will see you from the back. If you have big shoulders, big, wide back, it looks good as well. You have to have the balance with that kind of thing.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, something like that. And that's it. The body will just force you to redirect your training stimulus.
Specialize your training,
Specialize in back and lower back. And people say they got lower back pain often. It's often just their lower backs are so weak.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. Because for whatever reason, I think there's a couple of myths go around. Obviously, the knees over toe is a big myth, like all that.
Yeah.
There's a big myth about, like when people do back extensions, I've got pain in my lower back. It's like, no, that's just your back muscles working.
Yeah, that's how it feels when they work. It feels a bit different.
But it must be like they've obviously been told from somewhere that, stop that.
Yeah.
Or because I think a lot of trainers don't understand, like, pain, or they're not asking better questions or deeper questions into it. Like, what type of pain, or what, does it disappear? And like all these type of things. Like, does it feel like when you train, you do a leg extensions for 10 reps, it's burning.
Yeah. Leg extensions burn like hell. Yeah.
But you don't automatically think, my leg quads are going to fall off. No.
But when you do like a hyperextension, it's like a tightness kind of. It's slightly different feeling, I think. Like, it's a different muscle group. Like, they're just keeping your spine rigid and solid. So they have a different role. Yeah. And I think that's one where people they quit quickly. Oh no, I've got back pain. My back
it's
hurts. Not. It's just that's how that muscle feels, and it's being worked.
And then after, it's really tight, and so because that's blood just pooling into the erectors. Yeah. And getting into those muscles. It's like when it's a pump.
Yeah, it's just a lower back pump. That's it. It's fine. It feels great. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's a lower back pump, and people, not to be scared of that. And that's a good thing. And that over time, as it gets more conditioned, it won't feel like that as much.
The bicep pump, they know. The lower back pump, what the hell is this? Yeah.
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
But I think that's a big thing. I think that's a great piece of advice. First step is just go around the pain. Work around it initially, and then you either work on it yourself or you go around it. And I think, if you are, it's even talking to some of the physios, like we were talking about kind of a bit the other day, like, people, you want to just work on correcting things and fixing some of these injuries, but everything is built off strength.
Yeah.
You've still got to keep the main thing.
Correct.
And so
probably mentioned that 10 times now in 6 episodes.
Every single episode.
Keep the main thing the main
thing.
Keep
the main thing the main thing. Because people don't. They major in the minors.
Yeah. Another one. Yeah. Another one.
They major, they worry about all the small things, and they don't major in the major things. And they don't prioritize in their life at all, whether it's to do with their body. And it's like, look, let's just fix this main thing right now.
Yeah.
But then above all, you probably got injured because you're just generally not that strong or robust.
Yeah.
You haven't got a good fatigue tolerance, or your muscles just fatigue so quickly, or you've got a massive left and right imbalance. So one side is just doing way more than the other. Like, let's just focus on like the elephant in the room. And
honestly, if you say another one of these little tropes that you
every episode I'm going to say something
constant, elephant in the room,
But but as you like more of it as a strength coach, like you just you work on some ability here. You're trying to fix a few things, but they take a while. But then at the end of the day, you still finish up. Well, the main bit of your session is deadlifting, squats, or lunges, or pushing and pulling, and
you have to focus on that stuff, and that's your meat and potatoes of the work.
Oh, another one. Huh?
Yeah, another one. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw one in. But yeah, you have to focus on that stuff, and then the other bits are the garnish, and they just top up and make the meal look pretty.
It's like with our ribs, you just have that green.
There's a little bit of green bits at the bottom that sometimes stick to the rib, but it's good to have there. It's nice.
Yeah, because look, I mean, like, the body is much more robust and stronger than I think we give it credit.
Yeah.
If you really train it, because we can become compensation like machines,
compensation kings.
Yeah, literally, because for me, I'm not with the whole optimization thing we talked about. Like, it's not about chasing. I don't think you have to. I think our bodies aren't meant to be totally balanced, like 50-50 everything.
No.
Because even internally, our organs aren't perfectly balanced. We don't have half our organs on one side of our body, or in the front or the back.
I think a good way to think of it is like, okay, which activity is perfectly balanced?
No,
there isn't any.
Every sport is imbalanced.
Every sport, whether you're a javelin thrower, you play rugby,
chess,
with your chess, you use your right hand, or maybe you use your left hand, right?
Exactly.
If you're writing,
the clock is on one side,
right? So you get to train,
So you play cards,
anything, like literally anything you do, it's never like a symmetrical movement, or very rarely. So yeah, I think you're not meant to be balanced. But yeah.
As long as you're paying for it and whatever your tasks are. But I think again, sometimes pain is perceived. Like sometimes, especially if it's like sometimes you just like it just points you in the right direction. I've been doing too much of one thing. I needed to spend more time on that, and then maybe you go back to doing anterior chain for a bit, and then you do more posterior chain for a bit, and because like as coaches and people who've been training a long time, like we're still fixing things now. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see people who've been training for 40 years, or because life changes, your demands change. You're always doing different things.
It's never stable. And it will never end. Exactly. It's just going to continue being a new thing, the next thing, and that's fine. That's part of it. That's the journey. You're never going to get to a point where like, I'm perfect. Everything's fixed.
No,
I can squat 400 kilos and do this and do that, and everything's perfect. It just doesn't ever get to that.
I think people think there is that place.
Yeah, the destination, but no.
And I think that relates to whether it's other goals in life, whether it's in goals with other fitness goals, like even if you want to get down to 6-pack abs and sub 10% body fat, you're probably not going to maintain that forever.
No.
Like you'll be there for that photo shoot.
Yeah.
Getting down to like photo shoot prep, you're in that state for a day.
You don't stay there for a long time.
You're in that state for a day, and then you refeed and everything. It's like bodybuilding shows.
Yeah.
You're in that state for a day or so,
and
then
few
you're
hours.
out of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like people are really trying to chase that peak all the time, but then it wouldn't be a peak.
It wouldn't be a peak, and it never happens in any sport, any part of life. The peak doesn't last a long time. It's literally a peak. Yeah, and that might raise your plateau or get that. If your goal is up here and it's the peak, and you're before you were down the bottom somewhere in the depths.
So it becomes a new plateau.
Which is
higher
good.
than the last plateau.
Higher than the last plateau. Your minimum is raised, like we talk about in strength training. But you can't maintain that peak condition or whatever that goal was forever.
No, because this is where we're moving. Even with injuries, like even during the rehab process, even during body composition process, business, whatever it is, it's not linear.
Yeah,
it's just not forever getting better or going to keep improving. A lot of people chase that. and they think they have that intention, or they go in with it with the wrong intentions, or because maybe their coaches sell them nonsense, or they're not real with them. Like this is not. I say to my guys, this is not going to be a linear process.
Yeah,
we're going to have a good weeks, and then we're going to have a bad weeks.
I think
things are going to get worse eventually, and then it will get better again, and better than it was before the last time. It's this wave.
I think weight loss,
especially,
is that because I know a guy. Every calorie is counted for. Everything is dialed in. It's like he's trying to make it a science, and he weighs himself every single day. He's like, I gained 300 grams today, but I was in a 2,000 deficit yesterday. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, so go to a 3,000 and eat nothing.
Yeah, just eat nothing, literally. It's like, but
and you won't lose weight.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, it just doesn't go like that.
Huh.
Like, look at the trend. Don't worry about day to day. Look at, let's say, week to week. Like, every 2 weeks, every month. Like, how are you last month? Oh, yeah, I've dropped 5 kilos. Okay. Yeah. So you're going in the right direction. But it doesn't just go down every day.
No.
It's just not how it works.
No, and I saw that, was that meme or something? No, it's not a meme. A reel with Sam Sulek was going on about, you can just eat 2,000 calories of donuts and you'll lose weight. And it's like, probably won't.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get his point. Like he's just going that calories.
Because he was saying it's like, we're a machine, like a system.
Yeah,
it's just basic maths. I was like, but we're not basic maths.
We're not
quantum
basic
physics.
Yes,
like we're quantum. It's not,
there are other factors.
Water has actually 4 states. Not just 3 states.
Yeah. Ooh, getting deep.
You know what I mean? Like we don't even know our biology.
Yeah.
We don't actually understand
we don't understand it fully. And the thing is...
And even deeper, Todd, we don't even know our planet. We don't even understand
it. And then we can go into space and we can talk. Yeah. We'll save this for the late night show when we do one of those. Late night show. Yeah.
Because I think people on their car journeys will be blown by this.
And be going, what? I can't...
But it's true. Like we don't... It's not as simple as just input, output. I don't believe anyway. I don't believe it because there's too many other variables going on. Yeah. With our lives and everything else.
I think it's like trying to make it a science and quantify everything is the wrong move initially, because for example, a lot of people like to wear the wearables and track the calories and this kind of thing. We know they're not super accurate, so that's already you're just taking a measurement which isn't very
plus
accurate.
or minus 10% or something.
Plus or minus, if not more,
20%.
So it's like so already like if you're in a 30% or 20% deficit, let's say, you might just not be in a deficit. Because you're tracking this calorie number and all this. So just try and get some basic rule. Don't try and understand the crazy biology of what's going on inside you to tweak this. And if you want to do it and you find it fun, go for it. But the best thing is just set yourself some rules that are gonna kind of keep you in check and go like that. And it's the same with training in general as well.
Yeah.
If you try and monitor everything and go super into it, if you're an athlete, fine. It's a different story. You can do that.
Yeah, because you've got more control of the variables.
Because you have control of you have a lot of control usually. Yeah. But even then, you might just not sleep well for a bit, and then it just throws everything out the window. And then what? And it's like, okay, how do I sleep well? And then you have to go into that.
And then you start overthinking it.
And you start.
But this is it. It's like, even with even athletes, like that's why you got to have subjective and objective testing, or even those daily. Assessments. It's like, sure, my Whoop is saying these numbers and all this,
but this is how I feel.
Actually, how do I feel, or how do I think I slept, or you know what I mean? Like, have some subjective stuff, as well as just the objective.
I don't know anything about this, so I'll be talking out my ass right now. But it's interesting when you think, like, I had a Whoop for a bit and I was using it, and sometimes I'd wake up and my Whoop score would be like 20%.
Yeah, red zone.
I'd feel excellent. And I'd go and train really well. And other days, I'd be in the green. I'd be like 85%. And I just didn't have any motivation that day to train.
Yeah.
So, you think, okay, you're recovered. It says you're well recovered. You can push hard today. But it's like, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, totally.
So what, this is the other variables we're talking about, right? That it comes into this side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do HRV monitoring. I used to use an app called Elite HRV. Maybe they're still going, maybe they're not. Use it, woke up, training, bed, before, but all this stuff. And again, it had the same traffic light system, and it said like, right, you're red today or whatever. But I remember twice I hit PBs on days I was red. They said I shouldn't have trained that day.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I just think as well, you kind of, we've discussed it before, my kind of take on it. I just think it just weakens you mentally, psychologically. I think it says like you can't do stuff unless things are perfect.
Yeah. Which is not the way.
The real world is so imperfect.
Yeah.
That, like you just said, say you got the World Championships tomorrow.
And you're red.
Oh,
I won't do it. No, obviously you're going to go.
You have to go.
Yeah.
But if you've been building that for 4 years, you've been using the whatever it is or this device, and then you get to the most important day in your career. Yeah. And it says you're yellow.
And you've been letting that thing tell you how you feel.
You're not 100 out of 100 or 100%.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have these doubts in your mind.
Like letting that thing, whatever it is, your whoop or whatever, telling you how you feel and what you should be able to do is the wrong way to use it, at least. Like, okay, if you think of it differently, you just say, look, it's just a number. I'm going to also use my subjective. Fine, go off that. But I know people that just live by it.
Even with clients, like going back to nutrition a little bit, briefly, is like, for me, it's how you track. Is like, I say to people, if they want to track and they've done it before, or whatever, it's like, fine, track. But I want you to eat first, drink first, everything first, and eat as much as you would, and normally, then track it. Yeah. Then put it into your FitnessPal or Chronometer, whatever it is. Don't input it before you eat. Predict what you're going to eat and everything else. I say, look, eat what you want to eat until you're satiated. You don't want to eat anymore. You eat what you want to eat or how you normally would eat. And then just write it in your diary or in your FitnessPal afterwards. I think kind of saying like, if I was to use one of these HRVs or Whoops or whatever again, I just wouldn't look at it until the end of the day or end of the month. Yeah. And then say, oh, that day I did this and I did really good, and I was in the red. Yeah. Or, and see how it would sync up without even knowing, being conscious of what it actually was.
Just go and do your day and then check at the end and say, oh, this is what I was meant to be today.
And then you go, yeah, actually that makes sense. I was red and I felt like
sometimes it does
today.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
And I didn't want to train today, and actually it made sense. And then I would be like, actually, I know to trust my own instincts more. Or sometimes you've got to do hard shit even though you feel like shit. Yeah, excuse my French. Like sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. Yeah, you don't feel like doing.
A lot of the time you have to do that.
And that's like we talked before about cold plunging or whatever it is. Sometimes you got to do stuff that you don't even feel like doing. Sometimes, and that sometimes it just makes people this more like it. I think the people use it in the wrong way, that they feel like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not. Sometimes when you're so tired, you could still train. Yeah. Even when you're really tired,
I think most of the time you can.
You could still do something.
Yeah.
You could still do. I guarantee, even if you're a 0% score or 1%, because of
you could go and do something.
Dehydration the night before.
Some alleged dehydration. Yeah.
I've seen it. Like in personal, but you can still do a session. Sure, it's not going to be the best session. No. Sure, you're not going to probably hit any PBs. No. But you can still train. You can still move. Yeah. You can still lift some weights. Maybe it's not your 100% score. Maybe you normally say you do 40 kilo dumbbell bench press for 10 normally. And maybe that day you could probably only do 30 kilos.
Yeah. But you did something.
But you still did something.
Or you might tear your ab.
Yeah.
So there's two sides.
Yeah. So actually, what would, that's actually a good point. Like what have you done in the past when you've seen, say, clients come in on a red?
On red.
What do you change, or what do you do differently in their sessions?
Literally, first of all, ask them how they feel. Always, they might tell me. I say, "Well, how do you feel?" Yeah, and then off like both of those responses, like if it's red and I feel terrible, adjust the session, make it more.
What would you do? What are some of those variables that you would change?
Intensity, reducing intensity. Yeah, I think it's the big one, because I think with intensity.
So still practice the patterns.
Still practice the stuff, whatever you're doing that day. Yeah. But reduce the intensity, because whether it's load or conditioning, the high intensity stuff, I think, from what I've seen, probably has that higher risk of injury when you just go into something super difficult or whatever it is. If you reduce the intensity, but still practice, still keep a similar session structure to what you're going to do. Maybe warm up for a little bit longer, take your time getting into the session. That's usually what I go for. But it depends on situation to situation.
I'd add to that. Yeah, definitely intensity. Lower that down. Some people say, especially if we're really tired, less complex. Lower the complexity of anything that you were going to do. Way more simple. They're tired or their brain's not there or whatever. So really simple exercises that they all, or just simple relative to them, what they know from their exercise library that they've done for however many years. Ones that very comfortable exercises for them. That's relative to them. For an elite level weightlifter, that might be just doing muscle snatch. You know what I mean? Because that's really simple for them. But
not for everyone else.
Joe blogs, it's their first year of training. That's not. But complexity, and then like stability. I like to put just people in machines, which is complexity based, but like just so they're supported. They're not having to try and balance anything, control anything. They just push, pull, simplify. Exactly. Like I use maybe more machines, lighter weights, less sets,
less
slower, longer rest periods. This type of things. Slow things down. Just keep, that's it. I think those would be the main things.
I think the complexity thing's a big one. You don't have to think as much. You just move. You're not trying to work out a new thing. Like, don't do new stuff. I think that's probably a thing.
And even from a coaching model, you're not like shouting at them, and you're not like,
well, maybe you are.
demanding. You're not demanding as much from them. My expectations are low. When I see like someone's red, I'm like, well, today's not going to be probably the best session. So unless I see something and I just in the moment just decide.
Aim low, achieve. That's the motto for those sessions.
Aim low, and then if something's unique, or look for like one little win in something. Whatever that is in the cardio thing, or in the strength part, or the mobility part, or whatever it is. So at least they feel a little bit better coming out of it. Not just totally like, well, this is.
That was terrible. That was awful.
But most of the time they don't, because at least they turned up. They've achieved something, even though they just feel like they can't do anything that day.
But I think even just turning up, if you're feeling really bad,
something's better than nothing.
That's something.
Just come in and do something that day, and especially with clients who it's not a habit yet, and it's not just part of their routine. They've been doing it for 10 years or 10 years or whatever, even longer. Like, if they're still newish to all of this, then you come in, do something. Even if you're not feeling, even if you've got a cold or sniffles, then you come in, and do something. We can just do some gentle cycling. I use sometimes just walk with your clients.
Walk around.
Get them walking outside.
You saw me do it,
because sometimes they be sitting. Instead of just sitting inside all day. Get outside and walk.
I'm
sure you can walk.
She was like, super stressed out at work, like tired, had such a long day. She's messaged me, I'm not going to come today, but I'm like, look, just turn up. Just come. We'll do something. She turned up. I was like, let's go outside. Let's go for a walk. We just walked around the track for probably 40 minutes, and she went home. But
got some sunlight outside, movement, felt good.
And she was like, I feel much better now. Actually, I'm glad I came. Yeah, we didn't touch a weight. We didn't get on a bike or anything. We just walked around. But sometimes that's what you need.
No, it is. It's again. Look, I think really to summarize all of this with injuries, something was all better than nothing. Progress is not linear. It's gonna go. You're gonna have good days. You're gonna have bad days, but it doesn't matter. Still show up because you never know if you're preparing for that competition. You're preparing for this World Championships or whatever championship you're preparing. Just for life, you never know what's going to spring upon you. There may be something, you get ill, a family member gets ill, something happens, some tragic thing or whatever. You got to be able to turn up no matter what. You know what I mean? Like I always go back, like military. Sometimes you might just train legs and you got to go out on maneuvers. Or you got to go out there. Who cares if you got DOMs in your legs?
No one. No one.
Because your life's on the line at the end of it. So you're like, sometimes you have to kind of think that way. And, as Joe Rogan says, don't be a little bitch.
Exactly.
You got to have that mindset because you got the two voices in your head saying like, oh, just rest, stay home, be comfortable, wrap up warm, play, watch TV, watch Netflix, play video games. So no, don't be a little bitch. Just get out there.
Yeah.
Go to the gym. Go on that walk. do something. Get out in the sunlight. Go to the gym. Jump in that ice water.
It's much better once you get out there and start doing it. You never regret it.
The first step is the hardest.
Yeah, apart from when you tear your ab, then you regret it a bit.
Yeah, that's not much fun. Yeah, but it's still like the first step is the hardest. Just getting moving. You know.
Agreed.
And with injuries, work around it. Like we said, just go around it. Even if you've had an injury that day, you just had surgery, I guarantee there's something you can do straight afterwards.
You've only taken a percentage of the exercises that exist out of your possibility of the program. There's still a ton that you can do.
Yeah, it's like one of my clients now. He fractured his ribs, and he's like, right, go to the gym, do your normal routine. Tell me what you can't do. Right, and he sent me a list saying these are the exercises I can do pain free. I said, perfect. And then I see the pattern. Okay, you can't do any upper body closed chain exercises. They all hurt, like push-ups or chin-ups, anything. Right, so we're going to do open kinetic chain. And just one arm, so we're not putting too much load through his ribs. Yeah. Okay, no pain. Fine. And off we go. So you can still do upper body with cracked ribs, but no pain.
Yeah, there you go. And it's a huge list probably of stuff you can do.
Yeah, so just doing one arm this, dumbbell-based or light weights. Even if it's light weights, even if it's just one plate on a lat pull, I'd rather him do that than do nothing.
Yeah, well, the strength that he'll lose is way less than if you just sat at home. If you're just doing just a bit of lat pull down with one plate.
Do 20 reps, do light reps, whatever it is, lightweight. And then even if you can't do anything on that arm or that leg, there's the transference effect. Because even if you do your left arm, the strong, there's one nervous system. There's that transfer. Trickle effect. Yeah. There's research on that.
It's so interesting
because, as you know, if you're working that one arm, this arm tenses up.
Yeah.
Or the other limb contracts. And just minimally. It's not as hard, or even it can be really hard.
And it's also the transference of skill in some way. Like you're practicing on one side, same thing's happening, the neural connection. That's super interesting. That's interesting research, I think.
I love it. Yeah. That's it. Like guys would be, in slings or in boots or crutches, whatever it is. They still train the good side, and when they take off the sling, their arm hasn't lost much strength.
Yeah,
it's pretty much where the other arm is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Human body, it's robust. It does impressive things.
And that's it. So just don't stop.
Yeah,
keep moving, keep doing something.
Yeah, and that's the lesson for today. Don't stop.
Cool. So look, if you liked it, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Like, subscribe when the videos come out.
Give us 1 star at least.
Give us Spotify. 1 star at least. Give us some sort of reviews on Spotify or something to keep these podcasts coming out. Okay.
Bye-bye.